This is That One Audition with Alyshia Ochse.
I love getting to do some deep research on this because I see you in everything. You literally, we were just teasing about it, that I don't think there's a TV show that you've not done yet, or a film role, or even stage, but you went to Carnegie Mellon. So was this always the thing? And then I saw that you wrote plays with your mom. So was your mom in the arts? How does this come to be, Paul?
How does it come to be?
How does you as an actor?
I could go way back. My mom was a playwright. She's still around, 94. Can't see a damn thing, but she's still writing plays. She's an amazing woman. And we didn't have a lot. There was plenty to go around, but we went to several Broadway shows as kids, very young. And I remember seeing the original Oliver, Twist, the musical that came from England when I was 5, and 1776 when I was a little older, and Man of La Mancha, the original. And the set stuck with me, the drawbridge that came down Man of La Mancha, the revolving stage for Oliver. I remember it like it was yesterday. So that was what I always wanted to do, was create these sets. So I went in high school. I ended up building these sets with a couple of buddies of mine, and we built these phenomenal castles and ships. They all had to come apart because they had to go through a little door backstage. And I made some little models, and to get into set design at Carnegie Mellon, which had at the time the top sort of set design as well as the theater program, but it had a great, like the best set design department around that we knew of. So I got in there. A little side note, John Wells, the great John Wells, the showrunner, I was entering as a high school graduate, and he was already on the jury. I think he had been there 5 minutes, and he had already taken over the department. If he sees
Foreshadowing of what's getting ready to happen.
I was shadowing him. He was
Yeah.
He was literally a sophomore, a junior or something, and he was jurying. We were in these little juries. I had this little table where I set up my models of my ships and my castles and my renderings and stuff that I was doing because I wanted to do that. And he was the one that went around with the heads of the department. But John Wells, I knew of him because we actually had a mutual friend. But I'll never forget. And I've run into him a couple of times, and I remind him, I said, John, you juried my sets when I came in. He goes, oh, yeah, I remember. He had already taken over. Whatever he was doing, it's an interesting thing because now he's
running all the comedy shows he's running.
Yeah,
the comedy shows are popping up underneath him. Yes.
He's on his 20th hit probably. But it was interesting. He went to Carnegie and was already in charge. And so we did my jury. I got in as a set designer, production person. And in the shop, a year later, I got my tool belt on, and I'm banging away at sets and props and stuff. But I was already hanging out with all the actors. So I was the New York dude who could roll a joint better than anybody.
Yes. I was wondering, I'm like, where's the crossover moment here? Yeah.
Let's go to Paul's dorm. He knows how to roll joints. We'll go smoke with Paul and go out to the night. I knew where the clubs were already because I was already very savvy about that. So I took a handful of the actors out to these. You got to come in. I get in. I know the guy. I was there just a little while, and I already had my connection. So anyway.
Then who decides, hey, Paul, let's have you as actor?
So a wonderful actor, John Maldonado, he was directing a director's piece of Short Eyes, which is a wonderful street jail play by Miguel Piñero, who's gone now. But it was a Pulitzer Prize winning play of these guys that literally wrote and created a play in jail. These are heavy duty guys. And then Joe Papp took it and brought it to the Shakespeare Festival, I think. And then I think it went to Broadway. It was a big deal back in the 70s. So John was directing a piece from that. And in the shop, he grabbed me and said, Paulie, come here, man. I need you to play Juan. I was like, what? Play what? I'm doing a workshop. Of the play. You want to play Juan? I said, yeah, let's go. He tied up my shirt like this and put a pack of Marlboros in my pocket. We rehearsed a little bit, and I was very comfortable beating the shit out of another guy on stage. Not for real, but
yes,
I had
learning the stunts. Yeah,
wonderful senior act. We worked out a bit where I was like, threw him down. I was like, hey man, mother, how are the F-bombs on this show?
F-bombs are great. We love them.
But this time and place, I'm your judge, boy. And I had to pick him up and throw him around a little bit. And everybody was like, ooh, it's scary. And that was it. And then I got invited to audition, went into the acting program, but I was already a techie for 2 years. So then I had to start over as a freshman actor. And then it just
And then it
snowballed from there.
spiraled.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, because then to catch people up, what year do you graduate from Carnegie Hall? Like when do you, early
Carnegie Mellon.
80s? Oh,
Carnegie
Carnegie
Mellon.
Mellon. Yes, thank you.
1930, blah, 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 blah. I don't remember. Yeah, 70, 80, 80, 80 something.
That's what I
Yeah.
was wondering because just you start working in 87. As far as I don't know if you went to stage after that, if you were working on stage, but television and film, you start going at 87 and then there's no stopping this train. There's zero stopping, it feels. So I'm curious about I want to hear an audition story from the 80s. There's a couple of even
I have one that I picked out
yes.
because this is
Yeah.
the audition show. I got a few, I got a handful, but the
I
one that,
know. You have to have a few, and there's some that I specifically want to know, so I'm going to dig
okay,
in. Yeah.
all right. This was one I was playing a mentally challenged young fella in a show called The Trials of Rosie O'Neill with Ed Asner and Sharon Gless, who was the other half of Cagney and Lacey back in the day. They were wonderful. And I went in for this audition. I went into the thrift store, which I'll do often for characters. Got a pair of pants that were too big on me, so I had to hike them up, and a shirt that I buttoned wrong. I got into this guy, and he was just this little simple guy. And I was mimicking a kid that lived around our streets in Brooklyn. We call him Smiley because he was always like this. And he was a little on the spectrum. So I was doing him. He was my guy. And then so I went in, and once I got into him, like on Thursday, I didn't leave him. He didn't leave me probably till Tuesday when I went in. Thursday, Friday. I didn't stop being him because it was all encompassing. Plus, I didn't want to, thought in my head, if I stopped, he'll go away. So I stayed in him, got to the audition. I was there in that weird little hiked up pants, that little smiley thing I was doing. And in the audition room, there's other guys and all that. They call me in, and I walk in the room all messed up.
Kylie.
And I walked in, and I immediately walked to the window in the room. And I just started staring out the window. And they were like, they were talking to me like, Paul, do you have any questions or whatever they say? And then they realized I wasn't talking back. And so their first line went up, and whatever it was, and I said, and I didn't answer. I was stuck looking out the window. And I literally like looked out the window, and I think I may have touched the counter, and I just stayed in there. I would say not a whole minute, but a while. Then eventually I got into the scene and played the scene, and then left. And I think I finally drove home and let myself get out of it, got the call, got the job, and then stayed in it for 2 weeks. Like on set, I walked around in this hallway of this like institution where we were shooting in character. I didn't stop for lunch. I was weird around the corners. They just left me alone. I don't do that anymore, but it was in it. That was the one audition.
I'm okay. So when you say be in it, just so I can so you were walking, talking, fully inhabited, basically as Smiley for those few days, and then for the 2 weeks. I ask people this
probably
a lot.
2 weeks on set. I don't think I ever broke. I don't remember, but I just remember they just left me alone.
And then
Yeah.
how was the final product? Like when you say you don't do it anymore now, what was your recovery process for letting Smiley go? Because I do think a lot of actors, that is their method. They go in, that they just stay in with it. But then we don't sometimes talk about the letting go of it. Why do you not do that as a process anymore? Let me ask.
Well, a friend of mine said years ago, Ethan Tucker, "Hey, you doing, Ethan?" After I'd been doing this a while, he was living with me actually for a while, renting a guest house of mine. He'd come in and go, "What are you doing? Who are you taking off the shelf? Who's on the shelf? Is it going to be so he would make fun of me in a way, but he would just go, he'd look at my shelf of books or whatever it is and go, which one is it? And you gain over time. If you've done enough of these things, as some of us have, you have a little repertoire. You could pull from these characters. I did a play once where I screamed every night before performance to get my voice very hoarse. There actually was another Latino guy earlier when I did some of those. And I wanted him to talk like that with like a raspy voice. Hey, oye, mami, que buena está. Vamos tú y yo a salir, mami, qué cuerpo. It was that guy. And I had to
Yes.
go Tino. But I would scream. Now I could just place it and go. I could probably do it a little bit if I was to do it. I would just go, oh, hey, don't get it. I'm good. I'm good. Okay, here we go. I know the sound. But I would scream and make my voice so hoarse before
Yeah.
performances. I remember screaming and going into bathrooms at auditions with a towel. I'd bring a towel because I wanted to scream. I wanted to scream my lungs out in the audition, before the audition, because that kind of,
Because you wanted that raspy sound. You were going for
I
that.
wanted the raspy sound. I wanted the energy my blood to be boiling. I did the craziest shit. I remember driving in Manhattan on a subway, going between cars just so I knew I was going into this corporate building. I had to go up to the 90th floor, and I didn't scream yet. I didn't warm up. So I'd be like, "Wah!" in train car, in between subway cars. It was nuts. I did crazy stuff
You
like that. Yeah.
It's interesting. I've interviewed somebody else who's done exactly this. Have you ever worked with
Oh,
Steve Howie? He was on Shameless.
I know his name. I've never
He
worked with
did
him.
Reba. And also everybody that's listening, go back and listen to Steve's interview because
He had to scream. He had to scream before his
he would
audition.
have to go shock his system. So before an audition, he would go into a grocery store and start screaming, "Everybody look at me! Everybody look at
Oh,
me right now!"
wow.
And then once he
Yikes.
would get everybody's attention, he'd be like, "Okay, thanks." Like he got and then he would run out. He did something else like that. And he's like, I just needed to release energy and
Yeah.
get attention also put on me that I wouldn't get nervous in the room. And I just thought that was so wild to hear. And I still do it in different ways now. And it's interesting that adrenaline, that breath work, certain people do certain things, I think, to either shake off the nerves or whatever it might be. Like you just said,
I
just
can see that working for nerves because it's terrifying going into the room, which, by the way, that's a whole other conversation that folks don't have to do anymore.
I know. That's what I wanted
So,
to ask next. So when we
yeah.
go, those are 80s. You're in two of my favorite films that I just obsessed about as a child. Not even as a child, as a teen. I watched True Romance and Tombstone
Oh,
over and over
yeah.
again. So I
Yeah.
needed to know the audition stories, and that's going in the room, either one of those, because you auditioned for those, right? I'm assuming you're
I
still.
auditioned for, I didn't, I got offered both of those.
How did you get, what did you do before that, that both of those were
I'll
offers?
tell you. I'll tell you. It's so interesting because I love this guy's Howie story.
Steve Howie. Steve
I
Howie,
gotta
so
talk. You gotta put
good.
us in touch
I will.
because, I mean, that you see, it was a different time. We were just slashing through the forest trying to make our way, and there were no rules. Now it's much more refined. Of course, we could do these self tapes, which I would never, ever want to change what we did for decades. I'll tell you the stories in a minute, but I did want to cover this because it's actors out there, and I know there are younger people breaking in and all that stuff. I'm sorry that you're not going through 10 years or 5 years or 40 years of going in the room because you had to, but I say this because you're not going to have to do it. You're setting in self tapes, but you got to do it another way. You've got to be when you get the job or whatever it is, you got to still put in the work because what we did and what we had to do to go in that room full of nerves, watching 10 other guys outside the room
Hearing
before
their
you,
auditions. Yeah.
hearing them freaking out, watching them, hey, Joey, how you doing? Oh, he's here, that guy's there. Trying to focus and not visit with your friends and all that stuff. And then be so prepared that if there was a fire, you knew your shit. And that's how you get the
Mhm.
part. You got to be so unbelievably, you got to know this stuff. There was an earthquake happening and it wouldn't throw you. So was my preparation. You had to know it that well. You don't have to know it that well anymore. And that preparation to me was my our acting training, having to go in and do that, which it's pretty much an old.
It really is.
Yeah.
Very rarely are they having you come in, and if so, it's on the third, fourth round. It's even chemistry reads are over Zoom now for the most part because nobody lives here. But
Yeah.
there's something about I would call it the windshield audition. When I would go into the room, you're actually performing, right? It's like stepping onto stage. It's the
Hmm.
highest level of it. And I think in
You're
order
performing. It's opening night.
it's
I call it
opening
opening
night.
night. Yeah.
And then your drive home in the car, I called it the windshield audition, where you're like, oh, I get it now. Oh, I should have done this or I should have done that. And when you're at home and you're self-taping, you don't have that performance-based choice later to be like, oh, that worked or that responded with the casting director or the producers or, oh, I get that note now. I understand what's happening. So much of that has to be, we have to build so much of that up in ourselves now. Unless you do the live Zooms, like you meet with
Even
casting.
so, yeah.
It's not the
You
same.
could
I
prepare.
totally
You could
agree with
have your
you.
notes. You could have your. It's just
Yeah.
different. And young actors, I don't know what to say because you don't have to go through that anymore. But
Yeah.
stay in class, do whatever. You just work hard. Find other ways to prepare that makes you fight for this job. The only thing that they have against them is that there's 90,000 more people, we all do, against you because they're reading people from Zimbabwe and Australia. You have
Exactly.
that against you. So I guess it evens out. It evens out. But that
It
process
does.
that we went through was so valuable. And to me, it gives you the calluses of being that seasons you, that makes
I
you
agree.
tough in the business. And of course, theater. That's the other thing, because theater is the same horror, going out every night, throwing up first, and doing what you got to do, and then stepping out onto that stage, which I don't love doing plays for that. It's torture. I've only done a handful. I haven't done as many as most. Have you done a lot of theater? You did New
I
York theater.
just did a play just this last week,
Oh,
and so it's ripe in me, but I hadn't done it in 10 years. And I have to say, doing it night after night, that, oh, it was different tonight. Oh, discovered this. You can just continue to discover and build. Whereas like television and film, right? Again, it might be a delayed response where you just don't have as much time with the character or the text isn't as rich, the story isn't as evolved, and you still got to hit it and make it work.
yeah.
Okay, so then true
So
romance.
Tombstone.
Yes.
So I did because I was now again, I'm not playing Latinos anymore because that I'd get shivved by some Latino if I ended up on stage or filmed getting one of those parts. But coming out of school, I had this Juan guy in me. My first play I'm going to go back a little bit.
Yeah,
My
let's do
first
it.
play, I auditioned at the New Eurekan Poets Cafe Theater on 3rd Street between B and C, Lower East Side. There were burnt out buildings and junkies everywhere. And this little New Eurekan Poets Theater was right there in the middle of the Lower East Side, which is now all fancy and gentrified. But anyway, went in. It was me, one other actor, Annabella Sciorra. Okay. And the three of us got the part because we were the only ones that showed up down this little drug town. And the play was with Miguel Piñero, who was this guy who wrote this play that I just done in college a year earlier. And he was a full-on junkie, crazy guy. His protege was a guy named Ronaldo Povad, who wrote a wonderful play called Cuba and His Teddy Bear that was done at the Public Theater with De Niro, Ralph Macchio. Anyway, so here I am with these guys playing this guy. This, oh, how you doing, Bally? So I had this character in me because I'm around these heavy duty, serious, druggy criminals. They carried knives, guns, and I hung with them. And they taught this little boy how to be one of them a little bit. I actually went into some shooting galleries with them, which is where you go in cop and you shoot up, and I watched the shit. It was
Wow.
crazy what I went through just to watch because my character was them, was a junkie. I had this Latino guy in me, this Miguel Pinheiro guy, and I was doing him too. And so I get to LA and I auditioned for this wonderful play by Lyle Kessler, who wrote the wonderful play Orphans, and it became a movie. It's a landmark, legendary play. And he was doing this play called Robbers. And I read for God, his name was Vinny too. A lot of Vinnies I've done. And Vinny was a Puerto Rican guy from New Jersey. Hey, I'm Fliss. How you doing? And so I read for that, got that, and then we did it. I did it at the Actors Studio, which I became a member of the Actors Studio. Then we did it in at the Seattle Repertory Theater. And in the play at the time was Lisa Zane, wonderful actress, Billy Zane's sister.
Yep.
Not sure how active she is. I haven't seen her do much, but she was fabulous and wonderful and lovely and beautiful. And she was on stage, and her boyfriend was a guy who's gone now, Kevin Jarre. Kevin Jarre, Jarre, Jarre. She was dating Kevin Jarre, who was a brilliant writer who wrote the movie Glory, where
Mm.
Denzel got his Oscar.
Yep.
That was Kevin. And he saw me playing Vinny. Hey, man, how you doing? I had a goatee and all that. And afterwards he goes, and people thought I was from the hood.
Yep.
I got invited to the National Latino Theater Festival thing. They thought I was one of them, which I'm not. Maybe somewhere. I don't know. I had a grandfather who lived in Cuba for a while. Maybe that came through me a little bit. But he said, I got something for you, man. I'm going to call you one of these days. And 2 years later, I get an offer to go to Tucson, Arizona to play Florentino Cruz in the legendary movie Tombstone.
That's what
Yeah.
I always say. You never know where your
Yeah.
job is coming
I
from.
get a
Just do the
call.
work.
I get a
Wow.
call. He goes, you got Paul, you got an offer to play this Florentino they're doing a movie Western. So, cool. That's cool. I'd love to do that. And they put me in if you remember my little
Yes. Little
Chiba,
curl up.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
with the mustache and the scar and big old hat. And that was Tombstone with
Okay.
great,
So good. Oh my
yeah,
gosh, there's so many good.
yeah.
There's so much goodness to dive into. I want to know, do you audition anymore?
Of course, I do. I do. I do. I do. But yeah, of course.
Okay, so just for the audience, you're on Nobody Wants This. We're doing season 2 right now. You
I
just
read for
did.
that. I sent in a tape for that two
Okay,
years
then
ago.
I want to know. Okay, so I just want to know how process has changed for you, or how, since we were just talking about like in person versus being on tape, because you swing so beautifully from these great dramatic roles, from like these gangsters into great comedy. And for something like Nobody Wants This, that you have to
Right.
send a tape in for. How are you prepping the role? I love this character on you, by the way. It's so good. It's so
Thank
fun. It's
you.
just so lighthearted. Even just from your opening, right when we meet who his parents are, I was already dying laughing. It was so good. So good. So if you'll walk us through that audition, even getting Aaron's script, because when I read it when it was Shikska's,
So yeah, Shiksa,
yeah.
yeah.
So I
Yeah.
want to know, since you don't walk around embodied so much in the characters anymore, what do you decide to do when you do a tape now, Paul? What's your process?
Again, I go to either a couple of different studios, which I love to go to, where it's beautifully lit. I do have a little studio in my home.
Where are the places that you go? Because we love using these.
Fifth Street
Yep.
Studio. Robert Stevenson.
Right.
Fabulous. He's amazing. Called Fifth Street Studio with Robert. He's just wonderful to work with. He's a great director. He's a great cameraman, and we always discover stuff. I've gotten the last 2 years, probably cross my fingers, will be the fourth job coming up. I'm waiting on a gig. I'm waiting on a really good gig. But so I'll go there if I can.
Okay.
It's just, he lights it beautifully and he's very good. We did an audition. I was in LA last week. I could say I auditioned for Jumanji 3, playing a Russian dishwasher.
Okay.
And I went in and I called him. I said, Robert, I needed like a hard hat because I got one. I said, shit, you don't have an apron somewhere, do you? He goes, I got aprons. I said, oh shit, oh, that's great. Let's go. He got a whole prop closet full of stuff. I needed a broom. I needed a dustpan. I needed a garbage can cover. He said, I've been doing this 30 years. He's a good guy. You should interview Robert because he
Yeah.
sees auditions. He could tell you about this stuff. But anyway, I did an audition. I don't think it's going anywhere because I haven't heard anything. I think it was way over the top and I had way too much fun doing it. But I
For
didn't think
Jumanji or for Nobody Wants This? For Jumanji.
Jumanji, yeah. I haven't heard anything, so I don't think that's going anywhere. But I didn't think it would. I really didn't think I was right for it. But I had a ball. We had a lot of fun. But nobody wants this. I don't do as much. I don't put the time. I used to not sleep. I
Really?
literally would not. So I'd wake up, I'd go to sleep at 2, take a little cat nap, a bite to eat, run my lines again, run them again and run them again. I had to know them so well. I wanted to be opening night. I had that. To me,
Mhm.
you may not be the best, but if you're going in with that confidence and that preparation, that preparedness, opposed to somebody else that may not, to me, I couldn't leave any gap for the other guy.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna, there's no second place. There is, you get another job from these people, but you either win it. There's no silver. You got to get the gold.
Got to get it.
That was the attitude I had, and I just literally, I would just try to do all that work. Now I'll look at it, I'll work on it, I'll keep it. I hate to say this out loud. I'll have little tricks of in the room. I may hold the page. I may have a little
Teleprompter? Yeah.
little
So,
bit.
absolutely.
It's not a secret.
No, not at all. I use it, or I'll put up post-it notes, or there's that
I
one
do a lot of.
paragraph that like my
Thank you.
perimenopausal brain will be like, wait, what am I saying? Even though I've gone on it a million times, and just having that safety, just like when we used to hold our pages in the room, even though I didn't like doing it,
Yeah,
certain ones I would. So I'd
yeah.
rather
So
stay in the momentum of it than
we have that cheat sheet now. And
yeah.
like I said, it's sad because other back in the day, you didn't. You had it in your hand, but you didn't want to look down. You wanted to be in their face. Now you can have your cheat sheets. So I've done it for decades. I give myself the freedom to not have to torture myself for 3 or 4 days, cramming and cramming, because I'm a slow learner anyway. So I would just do it over and over and over and over again. And so I don't do that as much anymore. But but I do work on it for a few days, and I look at it, and I get it in my body, and I have fun with it. And I go in the room and I put down a tape, and there's it's either good, and then I'll watch it with whoever I'm working with, and that's pretty good. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. Oh, you know what? That's it. That's good. I'm not. What else am I going to do? Boom. Let's send that in, and I'm done. There's been times when I'll do 20. I go, doing it again. Again, we have that freedom. It's rehearsal. We're
It's
rehearsing
rehearsal. Yeah, we're rehearsing over and
wonderful,
over.
the
Mhm.
one wonderful, very humane way to work. The other way we used to was bona fide emotional and traumatic torture. Nothing short
Yeah.
of insanity. Now
Yeah.
we have that freedom. So
Now we do. And
yeah.
that's so for somebody that used to find the voice, are you somebody that's still finding where this character speaks first? Or like as far
Yes,
as are you somebody that just goes in and just is in the lines and still until you find the behavior?
that happens together. I'll work the lines. And as I'm doing it, I work very instinctually. I don't work on necessarily unless I need to know backstory, what happened here. But most of the I've done enough now where it's he's got a little bit of
Yeah.
Sal and a little bit of Anton and a little bit of this and a little bit of that, or the words are so wonderful. Just learn them as best you can. And as I'm doing it, the ideas come out. I equated a lot to painting and a lot to, although I'm sure some painters just planned out every box and did their graphs and all that. And some just, I think work very free form that way. Also, I think of a guy picking up his axe, his guitar, and play this for me. He plays it. He's going to play it different than 1,000 other guitarists, and you bring your music to it. So I let my music come to the audition, come to the work while I'm doing it and taping it and finding it. It's nice to have a good coach, director, if you could find one.
Do you
I
work with a coach still?
I generally don't unless I have to. For some reason I've booked a wonderful Russian guy recently, a sex trafficking, drug dealing scumbag Russian guy.
All the good guys, Paul, that you love playing. All the good guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So I
it,
got this wonderful role. And since then, I've just been getting a lot of auditions for that. I'm actually going to do a little film where I have to play a Polish, Romanian, Jewish guy. I got that. I'm pretty sure she plucked myself and Tova Felcher right out of Nobody Wants This because we're playing brother and sister in this.
Ah,
So yeah, so I think she just said, "Get me those two," or
well,
yeah,
that
yeah,
was going to be my next question because I think it's a different skill set. Also, just everything that you're just saying right now, too, gives me so much of your friend coming into your apartment being like, which book, which character, who are we pulling from now? You have a whole library. You've got 4 decades of a beautiful library of characters to pull on. Like, I can see why homework or little this, little that. So then let's talk about I think when actors get to offer land, when you've done enough of a body of work where people can pull from your body of work and be like,
yeah,
okay, Paul will be great for this. I want to talk day one of when you get an offer because they haven't seen what you're doing yet. So, how do you approach day one or once you have a role, like the role that you're getting ready to go do? How are you compiling what you're going to do on day one? Because I always look at day one on when I have offers, I'm like, oh, this is my audition day. Is this going to be what the director had in mind?
yeah.
So I would love to, and you've worked with so many incredible directors. You can use any of your day ones, like with Scorsese. Did you have to audition for him for the first
I
job you did with him?
Yes, I sent in a little tape. This was, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago for vinyl.
For vinyl, yes.
Yeah, he directed the pilot. Buddy of mine literally was holding my phone. This was before any lighting or anything. And I read a scene, didn't hear anything. Ellen Lewis, who I love to death, she's so wonderful, casting director. So wise and warm and loving and caring. She's just, many of them are, but she was special. Anyway, I get it by 3 months later. Paul, there's interest. Remember that thing you did? What? That, little tape you sent in? So, yes.
You
Yeah, there's
auditioned
interest
for
there.
him
Like
first, but then
for,
for
for
the Irish,
vinyl.
yeah, for vinyl,
Irishman,
and
Irishman, I
you
got a
got a
call.
call.
Yeah, from
So
Ellen
then
again. Yeah.
let's talk about first day of Irishman. You've got De Niro, Pacino. I don't know who else you were working with in this scene,
Ray
but day
Romano
one, oh, Ray Romano.
and
Okay,
Scorsese.
and Scorsese. So day one
Yeah.
of, yes, you've already worked with this director before, but what's your preparation for day one of offers? Or how do you communicate with director? Or I think that this is invaluable for actors. When I started getting offers, I will never forget the first offer I had was also somebody else who had an offer, and the director and the number one got in such a horrible fight on day one.
Ouch.
They stopped talking. And it made me realize, oh, this is the audition day. We've got a number one who has a totally different creative idea of where we're going with this. And we've got a director who has a different vision. But since we have a name and now we have no collaboration happening. So it just started I started paying attention to how I show up on day one. I like to have a lot of conversations with the directors before. So at least I'm starting to do work that is in preparation for the vision that they have. But I always find it interesting for people that are working a bunch, yeah, what your preparation is for that day one offer.
I know what you're talking about. I think maybe once or twice I may have been a little nerve-wracking. They checking me out
Yeah.
for, is this going to be a goodbye? I think to be honest, I don't think I've ever felt like I'll normally come in really prepared and it's confident. I'm coming in, watch this.
Yeah.
I'll, yeah, I'll come in. I remember for True Detective, I came in with a vengeance.
And was that
That's
an
it.
offer for you?
It was.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
was. And I still to this day don't know why, because it was a hot show. And they just said they needed somebody.
It was season one. Nobody knew. You and I did the first
Yeah.
season. Nobody
Oh,
knew.
right,
That was the
right.
season. I did the first couple episodes. You're in a much later episode, so we didn't even
We didn't
cross
cross paths.
ships. But I remember nobody knew what True Detective was going to be. Even my team was like, I don't know if you're going to want to do this. I'm like, yes, I want. Yes, I want to do this. Have you read it? The scripts were so unbelievable. And then working with Carrie, but my audition. So you didn't have to audition for Carrie.
He
So
must have known something. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, he must have known something. So you were getting ready to say your first day of True Detective, you came in guns a-blazing.
I came in swinging. I said, I'm going to chew these guys up because I do in the scene. But I'll tell you something that happened. I went in just because I had a lot to say, big mouthful. And actually, day one was not, I don't know what it was. They were super nice to me. They were like, thank you for being here. I guess they were Wire. I think the Wire carried a lot of
Wired,
weight.
100%. Yeah.
So I get on a lot. It's been, that show has carried so much weight for me. I get on, it's just being in that. And it's been a calling card. So they were, McConaughey and Woody were both like, dude, thank you, thank you. They needed somebody to chew them out. And they
Yeah.
were, and I think it was a combination of The Wire and Entourage because I was this CEO
Yep.
that chewed out Ari, the wonderful Jeremy Piven.
Mhm.
And I had this, whatever you want to call that. And I chewed them out. I chewed those guys out. I think I got a little bit, I'm thrilled to have it, a reputation that could yell at a star and not back down. So I had a couple since then, I don't remember, where you got to go in and kill and scream or strangle and whatever, and yeah, I've had a few of those since. But yeah, so I just came in swinging. I'll tell you what happened, to be honest. I don't like to say this, but on Grudge Match, we were talking about our buddy,
Yeah.
and I went in not as prepared as I wanted to be. I
How
went
so?
in
Not knowing the lines or just not having a full
not
grasp of
knowing
character
it,
story?
I knew it well, but I could have known it better. I could have known it better. I didn't fump. I knew my lines well, but there's another level of like where you're really free. And what happened was on that set, day one, and I did read for that. I sent in some tape for that kooky guy. And I get on set. The director was a little shy as well. You had De Niro, Stallone,
Yeah.
Kevin Hart, and me in this scene. And they said, okay, Paul, you'll be standing here. We had our marks all laid out. Paul, you got the green, you got the blue. Bob, you're here. We stood on our marks and they read the scene. And the scene is talking. And about second page, I arrive in the scene. And my character really should have come in. I shouldn't have been hanging out with them. My
Yeah.
character would go, hey, guys, how you doing? Listen, I just came from the blah. But he had me standing there and I just said, okay. I didn't say anything. And to this day, I'm like, no, I'm not in that part of the scene. I have an entrance, which
Yes.
would have went, oh, and because I stand there, I've been there for 2 minutes. These guys are yapping away. And then Kevin Hart finally goes, and this is so-and-so Marcello, who runs the big fight game. And I go, nice to meet you guys. I've been standing here for 2 hours already. I should
Yeah.
have come in. Oh, here he comes. Yeah. Hey, guys, sorry I'm late. I literally think I said, sorry I'm late was my first line. But I'd been standing there. And I was shook up from that because there's De Niro, 3.5 inches from me all day. I love Stallone, you're wonderful,
Yeah.
but there's De Niro. And it was freaky. And I even heard some other actors in interviews say it takes a minute. If he's one of your heroes, idols, whatever, it takes, if you're going to be there a month, great. It takes a day to just, there he
Yes.
is. And you're watching him work and you're going, holy shit, that's fucking Raging Bull, Travis Bickle. That's all your
Yeah.
great characters that I've studied and worshiped and all that stuff. Whatever. It's De Niro, one of the greats of all times. And I wasn't
Since then.
nervous, like shaky nervous, but inside, definitely butterflies. So I wished I was a little bit even more prepared and that I would have said, and also today, I would just go, 1 second, I'm not here now. I come in, look here, let me show you the script. I'm coming in
Mhm.
here. And he would have gone, oh, great. Okay, yeah. Give him a cue to come in, but it would have been nothing to say it. But I was frozen. Nobody else changed it. So there I was. I did what I did in the scene. I don't really like what I did in the scene, whatever. And so it's not. So a month or two later, I get an offer to go to do True Detective. And I said, I'm fucking going in. So I'm going to chew these guys. I am being so ready. And from as soon as I got in there, I was like, I'm going to chew you guys up.
Yes. You ready for this?
I'm
You're
ready for this. And I knew my shit pretty well. Yeah, it was a big mouthful. I just knew it. I knew it well. I was prepared. I knew I was ready. I did a little bit of screaming in there. I remember I did have to say, guys, hold your ears. I need to let one out. And which I did. And it was good. And Matthew McConaughey was sweet. We didn't say two words all day. This is the second or third day. And he gave me he said, man, he gave me a very nice compliment.
The TV and film landscape, it's constantly changing, but traditional actor training has largely remained the same.
It's focused on a theater model whose main goal is to help you stretch the expression of your instrument. That's why you can have years of training,
From scene study classes to audition classes.
to even an MFA, and still not be able to book a two-line co-star.
That's why we created the Bridge for Actors.
A collection of tech, craft, and business online courses to teach you the skills that you need to go from a student of acting
To a working actor.
This lends me to a couple of questions that I wanted to ask you. One, before I'm remiss of not asking, I have to know for The Wire, because this is literally, I feel like, the job that sets up my next question and also sets up a huge career that you've had. Look, HBO, right? So we got The Wire, we got Entourage, you got True Detective. This is a job that so many of your roles can pull from immediately. Was that an audition? And what was your for The Wire? Did you go in and audition for them?
Offer.
It was an offer too, The Wire was? Wow, Paul, that's incredible. Did you have
I don't know. To this day, ask Alexa Fogel, who's dear
I
to
love
me.
her, so yeah.
She,
What did she see you in?
I'll tell you,
Yes.
I had a tape that had True Romance where I spoke Italian a little bit, this much. Honestly, I think she just had a lot of pull. We knew each other out of the business a little. We had a mutual friend. We'd hung out a little bit. She had a sense that I'd be good. I didn't have that much going on for The Wire, before The Wire. What did I have? I don't know what she saw. I had
You
a little,
had little things and you had one-offs here and there. So
Yeah.
that's where I was like, The Wire just
so we were negotiating. We were negotiating for the thing. And my agents were like fighting for this dollar amount or that dollar. I said to them, and we're still negotiating on like Wednesday or Thursday, and my role starts on Monday. So I didn't even know it that yet. I don't have the part yet. And I think I said something like, if they'll do it for whatever the amount was, if they'll do it for that and offer it, don't even worry about the extra $5,000 or whatever they were trying to get. That's not what did it. I think I just told my agents, I think they said, yeah, we're still going to try to get whatever. We're going to do our job. But it was an offer, Alexa Fogel.
I
And
love her.
she just offered me something now 20 years later. I don't think she did ever. I did get an offer on The Deuce.
And then didn't she also just cast one of the ones that you just did? I don't know if
Yeah,
it's Lanterns.
Lanterns.
Yeah,
Which was a
because I noticed that. I
wonderful
was
role.
like, and I thought you guys met on The Wire. That's where my notes. See, it's always just, I think, interesting to see how we get the
We
job,
met
where
on The
we get the
Wire.
job, and then where the next job comes. So this,
So I got a story for you about The Wire, my first day.
I want to hear. That's one of my next questions.
So I get there on a Sunday. We're shooting the next morning. I think I get there the day before, whatever. He wants to rehearse the night before, 5 o'clock meeting with David Simon. And he's not Scorsese, it was David Simon. So I go in, I'm a little nervous because I hadn't auditioned. And I'm reading the scene with the other actors. And he looks at me and he goes, yeah, well, try it again, like the tape. And I go, yeah, okay. We do it again, rehearsing, ba-ba-bum. And I'm not fully developed with my accent yet because it was very subtle. I think the accent actually grew a little as the show went on. I'd have to see it again. But anyway, so I'm doing, and he goes, yeah, he said it. This is 100 years ago, so I don't vividly remember, but he was like, yeah, all right, let's do the end. Yeah, try it like the tape. And I remember him saying the tape twice. I go home from that rehearsal and I call my attorney, wonderful Darryl Miller. I had an attorney who'd done some jobs, some not. Anyway, he had booked this with me, with the agents. I said, Darryl, they're sending me home. They got the wrong guy. He goes, Paul, calm down. I said, I'm telling you, He kept saying about this tape, and I didn't fucking have any tape. I didn't read. And I'm so terrified that I'm going to get the call. Thank you very much. We found the tape with the guy who made the tape. And to this day, I've got to sit down with David Simon. I go, bro, I think you made a mistake. That's what he's thinking about every night. Anyway, so my attorney, he goes, Paul, when I did the bar, and I took the bar, and I didn't hear from them for this long, I told my family, my everybody, I didn't pass the bar. I started studying for it again. I started doing whatever I had to do. I did everything I could to redo it. I was booking the next bar exam, and then I passed. He goes, that's what you're doing. You're reading into this. I said, I'm fucking telling you, I'm getting a plane ride home tomorrow. Next day, get to the set. First day as usual, not a lot of notes. To this day, I'm still thinking, oh, no, later on, second day, third day, I was still waiting to see the dailies and look at it and go, this isn't the guy. So that was The Wire. Yeah.
That is wild to me.
Yeah.
I would even want to ask Alexa, did you send certain tapes? Did somebody else? But again, when it's yours, and then look at that, just opening everything up. Do you have time for a few rapid fire questions?
I would love to do more and more.
Okay. So what's your idea of being typecast versus not cast? Because you've done so many great roles. Do you ever feel like you've been put in a box as an actor? Is there anything that you haven't gotten to do or experience or get them to see you do something else? Them being casting producers.
Typecast me all day long.
That's how I feel too.
I love it. What's the next good mob role? What's the next good whatever, studio head, whatever. Just good projects, good people, good projects. I don't care if he's a raccoon, a chicken costume. Which, by the way, was another one I passed. This breaks my heart.
When do you say no, or when do you pass on stuff?
I said no, not many times. I auditioned for Seinfeld 5, 6 times over the years. Good auditions coming in. Oh, Paul, didn't get him for whatever reason. Didn't get him. They kept bringing me back. Last season, we want to offer Paul the role as a clown. As a birthday party clown. There was an evil clown that was in one of the episodes, but there was also a birthday clown. And he's a goofy birthday guy, clown, funny couple scenes. And I get an offer for Paul. They wanted to play clown. I was like, I'm not doing no clown. This is one of my stupid, a little more edgy, I'd say nutty, angry days, a little bit nuts. So I'm not doing a clown. And I liked the show at the time, but I have since, worshipped the show. It's the greatest, my favorite show of all time. And so that's why I kick myself, because it's become my favorite everything. Yes. So I said, no, I did a clown once. I'm not doing a clown again. So did a wonderful little indie directed by Nick Kazan with the wonderful James Spader as a clown, a crazy, wacko, maniacal clown. So I said, I'm not doing a clown. I don't want to do a clown. Next. And sure enough, Seinfeld comes and goes, and now I'm watching the show. I'm going, man, what did you do? What did you do? Anyway, that's one of the passes that breaks my heart, because I love the show, clown or not. So I love to go to work, good show, go to work, go do it. What haven't they seen? It's not as much the character as the role in the right project.
Okay, so what's the one thing that you've done that you wish more people would have seen? You've done over 100 television shows, Paul. And wow. I think 60, 70 films. So what's one thing that you're like, man, that was so fucking great, and not a lot of people saw it? We can put some attention on.
Something comes to mind. I did a little movie 100 years ago called Body Parts.
Body Parts.
One of the first things I did. It's a little crazy movie. You have to be like a culty kind of sci-fi thing. I was trying to do it like a Charles Manson character. And it was one of the first things I did, and it was really explosive and really powerful. And there was a wonderful sort of highly respected film magazine back then called Film Comment. And I was chosen that year as one of the new faces to watch. And it was Brad Pitt from
Thelma and Louise.
May have been, probably Thelma and Louise. Mm-hmm. Exactly. It was Samuel Jackson from Do the Right Thing. A couple of Paul Ben Victor from Body Parts. And I was like, nobody saw it. So if it was pick a movie, a big movie, I would have had a different career, I think, because it was a powerful 2 scenes, but really powerful. And yeah, I wish people back then, I don't know if they need to see it now, but it would have been nice if back then the movie had done
Better.
really well. Then I would have maybe jumped out and gotten to another place earlier, sooner, whatever. Yeah, yeah.
I love that. Now I want to go back and watch that too. Okay, from a business standpoint, you already gave something. You gave so many great notes of like things you wish you would have done different craft-wise at different points in your career. You've got four decades of the business changing, getting better, getting worse for whatever. What's a couple of pieces of advice that you give to actors earlier on that you would have given to yourself from the business standpoint of this industry that you could bestow upon other people?
I told this to a young gal she's actually one of our babysitters, but she's a lovely young actress who was not hearing back from her agent. And I said, she was like, I said, how's it going with them? Yeah, it's okay. I've reached out, I sent a couple of texts, I haven't heard back. In how long? Well, it's been at least a couple of weeks, maybe longer. I said, I've been through a bunch of managers, and I wish I had the tools to communicate back then. I didn't. I ended up sending them termination letters from an attorney. I didn't know how to. I had an incredibly wonderful manager who I have finally, full circle, I finally have a wonderful guy who I'm in love with now. Yeah, Alan Siegel and Gary Burkhardt, this team, the Alan Siegel Company. They're great. But years ago, I just let these guys go, and they were huge, big managers. Anyway, I just fired everybody. I had a terrible thing because I didn't know how to communicate. I just didn't know how. I just had a little bit of a hothead. But we have a tool now called Chat GPT. I will literally use this for a text to send anybody if you want it. So I told her, I said, you know what? Blab something into chat and go, I haven't heard from you. I'd really love to communicate better. I'm not sure if you're interested. Say whatever you want. Just get it out, and chat will polish it for you. Make it warm, polish. I heard it right. Just polish it, make it warm and professional, whatever. And it came back this beautiful, not attacking thing, because agency managers do not want to be. I've talked to a few other friends of mine off the cliff over the years. I didn't have anybody. I didn't have a mentor. Yeah. I've been a mentor to a lot of friends, a handful over the years. Oh, you're not sending that email that says,
fuck off.
Yeah. What's up with you guys? I haven't heard. Blah, blah. No, you're not sending that. Yeah, but I should, because no, you shouldn't. No, you shouldn't. You're not sending that email. So now we have chat. And I said, put it in there. And it came back. I said, send it to me, because she's with us a lot. She's a nanny. I said, so. And it was like, dear so-and-so, blah, 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 blah. I said, push send. That's great. I think I had to tweak a little word or two. Push send. We're so terrified, I think actors are so terrified about the agent relationship. Yeah. I said, push send. And she did. Got right back to her. I'm so sorry. I've been this. Bada bing, bada boom. And so that was fixed in 5 minutes. So my big thing is, if you have a relationship, communicate. Don't sit there and twiddle your thumbs all pissed off. So that's one thing you can do. And you have a tool that makes it perfect for you. Yeah. In case you're not a great communicator like I was not. And to this day, one of my best friends is an attorney. He uses it all day long, and he's Harvard.
It really is. It just can help us be a little bit more disarming and a little bit more collaborative.
Thank you. You know the word. Disarming. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Favorite actor you worked with. And what did you learn? Because you've worked with, this might be a hard question for you, Paul.
I know I want to work with Matt Damon.
Okay, putting it out there. I'm surprised you haven't yet.
No, I've been thinking, somebody asked me recently, who do you want to work with? I said, Matt Damon. Seems like a cool guy. And there was another actor I really wanted to work with. This is a tough one. Favorite actor I've worked with? I don't know.
Then leave it at that. We're going to leave it at the actor you want to work with next. Because somebody that has your resume, I love hearing actually where you want to go. Okay, favorite director you've worked with, and give me some things that kind of went from that to the next one. You've got Clint Eastwood. I love that you've worked with so many acting directors as well, like Antonio Banderas, Mel Gibson. You worked with Craig Gillespie, Martin Scorsese, Cary Fukunaga, Tony Scott, Nicholas Kazan. You've got a plethora, but I'm not even close to the 200 credits. So is there a director that you've worked with where you're like, this, we got to collaborate. This person helped me. I saw the work differently.
Yeah, Scorsese jumps out just because the experience of being on his set was really special.
Yeah.
It's like working with the Beatles or Mick Jagger or something. Like Marty's coming up with the elevator. Marty's coming up. He's on the floor. Here he comes. He's coming around. He's out of the car. There's 40,000 little assistants all on walkies, and it's the king is entering the castle, unlike anything I've ever felt before with him. And he likes to keep it like and cut, and in between takes, oftentimes the volume picks up and there's noise and crew guys are talking. Not on his set.
No.
Blah, blah, blah. He'll look at the AD and go, all right, let's keep it down. And it goes back down to a whisper. It's like a library. It's so beautiful. And you just feel so special and taken care of. This is our set here. It's not your, I don't care. Do your work. Everybody does the work, but we're working here. So there was a very special attention to us, and with his power and whatever he brings. And then you'll hear him guffaw laughing about something because he likes to laugh and he's got a big laugh. But then he also was just a wonderful, supportive fan. While you're working, you'd hear him bust out laugh in the video village and about something or great, come running and go, pause. It's terrific, terrific. Try it again. Take a little pause right there. I think that may do something. He gave me this little thing about taking a pause. I don't even remember. I did it and boom, something happened. There was a little moment that we got it. Great. Move it on. Boom. And it was just, there was a real sense of a dance and just mastery that he had, that so did Tony Scott and Clinton and all these other phenomenal people. But it was special being on.
It's different. Yeah, I think it would be different with Martin all across the board.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, when we got to China, Irishman got on set and it had been a couple of years and he grabs me, Paul, come here. You got to see this. This is the original desk from the mob guy. Who did Pacino play? See? And cut.
Yep.
It's Jimmy Hoffa. This was Jimmy's desk, and this open the drawers, and there's literally all the authentic props and pens and things. You could just see
like a kid in a candy store on his sets. There's nothing more exhilarating. Paul, I could talk to you. I could really go like moment to moment and everything. Are you on social media? Do you partake in this? Because if not, I'll just tell people where to go find you because we've got a laundry list of things coming out.
I do a little bit. My wife, I don't. My wife is millennial and knows how to push those buttons. I'm allergic to them and I screw it up. I break it. But yeah, I'm on. I have some kind of presence.
Paul Van Victor, is that what it is? The handle? Do you know? Just your name?
Yeah, I think that's it. Callie, what's my handle on social? Paul Van Victor.
Paul Van Victor. So at Paul Van Victor, so everybody can follow along. And then Nobody Wants This season 2 coming right around the corner. We've got Lanterns, Man on Fire. You got Killing Castro. You joined MIA. That's just this year. The
Chosen.
Oh, and The Chosen. Yes. Paul, thanks for letting me just get in there and hear some of these stories and get to...
Fun to tell. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I love it. I can't wait to see what you do with Matt Damon. And then being on a set where I actually get to be in a scene or in your vicinity so we can meet in real life. So thank you. Such a joy.
Let's do it. We'll work together soon.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it.